All right, my name is the Weakest Link 64 on Twitch and Discord, and this is a speed run of Metroid Prime Any Percent. This run is meant to be a submission to the marathon Yes Glitches Allowed, which is coming up at the end of March, so very soon. And let's get started talking about the run. The run is very cool, by the way. It's a lot of fun. So first we have targets. Targets are very annoying to do fast because for that first part of targets, you can't actually target anything. You can't like lock on. Now you can lock on, so it's pretty quick. And right here is a trick called a scan dash. So this is one of the main forms of movement in the game because it's very fast. So how a scan dash works is, one, you don't have a sideways speed cap in the game. So when Samus has a high speed going sideways, she doesn't really lose that speed unless something is programmed to make her lose that speed, like a dash should be. So that gets me into the other reason. So dashing in this game, so let's look at this dash. So I have a very high sideways speed and I go across the room. So dashing kind of works how when there's an intended mechanic in the game where you lock onto something and you can move to the side and do like a little dash aside. It's meant to be like a dodge sort of thing. But how we use it is we use it to go flying across rooms because when you let go of L in the middle of the dash, the game forgets to make you slow down at the end of the dash. So what happens is you speed up very fast, and then you slow down really fast in the dash. But if you let go of the target, then the game forgets to make you slow down very fast, and you keep going and you fly across the room. So it's a very quick form of movement and also very flashy looking. Another form of movement is Morph Ball. Morph Ball is just faster than walking in general. So when we can't dash, we'll use the Morph Ball. So like in that room with the tunnel. So this is Biohazard, and it's got a very interesting strat where you can get up on this pipe. And what's been done in the past is that you can do 2 double bomb jumps and get over that ledge. But actually a new strat was found about, I want to say about a year ago. Probably not quite. But a new strat was found not that long ago, actually, where you can get yourself stuck in that little corner, and then you hold out of the corner after Samus is stuck in it. The game repositions you onto a ledge that's near the door, and so it skips having to go around the room and going up the elevator, which is very slow. And it's actually a second faster than using bomb jumps. And probably a little bit easier, actually. The bomb jumps are kind of annoying. Alright, so next we have the first... I mean, this isn't really a boss, but it's kind of a boss. Parasite Queen. Don't blink or you'll miss it, because this boss goes very fast. So we're using a trick here called rapid fire missiles to kill this boss. And basically what happens is the game has an intended mechanic where if you hit A after shooting a missile, it closes your beam or your arm cannon. Because there's supposed to be a cooldown when you use a missile to be able to use it again. Like, it's about 2 seconds. But if you are holding either up on the C stick, which is swapping beams, or you hit A immediately after hitting Y, the missile button, then it closes it and cancels the cooldown. So you can actually just machine gun missiles into the Parasite Queen's face and kill her very fast. So now we have the escape sequence. It's not very interesting, mostly because I don't do out of bounds. Out of bounds is very difficult and not very marathon safe unless you've played it for several years, and I haven't. I've kind of only practiced it a little bit, so I'm not going to be doing it in the marathon. It's a very hard trick, but other than that, the escape sequence isn't really that. It's not really that interesting. So I'm actually going to take this time to talk about movement in the game. So movement, there's a lot of forms of movement in the game. So first we talked about dashing. We should talk about the speeds associated with those. So dashing in the game. When you dash to the side, you have a speed of about 34 on a good dash. So it's a very fast speed that you can get. Morph Ball, like I'm doing now, has a speed of about 20 when you're on a flat surface. And then obviously it slows down as you go up an incline, or speeds up as you go down an incline. But about 20, so it's pretty fast. It's much faster than walking. When you walk with L, you have a speed of about 12. So holding L is faster form of walking, but there's faster versions of that because you don't really want to walk everywhere because that's kind of slow. So if you can't morph and you can't dash, the other fastest way is to L jump or R jump everywhere. Those are 2 different types of jumps. The game has very interesting jumps. So what happens with an L jump is you have a speed of about 12 going into it because when you hold L, you have a constant speed. And then when you release L in midair, you accelerate a little bit, and you go to about 15. Next is an R jump. R jumps are harder to control because you're actually pressing R in midair, which locks your momentum. So you can't change directions very easily while holding R. But you can turn to the side, which I said you don't have a speed cap going sideways. So you actually speed up when you turn sideways in midair with an R jump. And you go to a speed of about 20 in midair. So it has a slower startup time than morphing, but you keep that speed of about 20. So it's about as fast as morphing when you're at full speed during an R jump. But in general, you're going to be seeing me using the morph ball and using dashing most of this game. And later we'll even get the boost ball, which is an even faster form of boost, morph ball. You get a speed of about 35 to 40 when you boost. And interestingly enough, if you chain boost, you actually keep speeding up because there's not really a cap on how fast you can go during morph ball. So now we've talked about how complex movement is. So yeah, the game has a lot of very complex movement, and it's a lot of you have to know the movement a lot to know what the fastest movement for any given room is, because there's just so many options you can do, and that's why movement is so interesting in this game, because there's so many options you have, and so you could even just make a new strat where it's some completely different form of movement than what anybody's ever done before, and maybe it's faster and maybe it's not, because there's just so many different things you can do. But in general, the fastest form of movement is going to be dashing and morph ball / using the boost ball. So like here, I can't really use the morph ball because I lost it, and I can't dash, so I had to use L jumping. And I also did a trick called bunny hopping, which is another added form of movement. So you saw me hold R in midair because you saw the reticle pop up. So if you are holding R in midair, you're keeping your momentum, right? And so if you jump on the ground within a few frames of hitting the ground, you're actually keeping most of your speed going through a bunny hop. And so you're not slowing down, because if you hit the ground, you slow down a little bit, and then you speed up again, you slow down a little bit, and you speed up again, because of how jumping works. But if you jump within a few frames, you can keep your speed and even speed up sometimes if you do it fast enough. All right, so the next part I'm going to talk about here is the trick called space jump first. So it's not a very hard trick. Because of scan dashing in this game, we can actually get the space jump boots first, as the first item in the game. That's why it's called space jump first. We can dash up to this little ledge right here, and then we can dash across these ledges and go get space jump boots now. So what's intended to happen is you're supposed to clear out Chozo ruins, get the Varia suit, and then go to Phendrana Drifts through Magmor, which is locked by Varia suit because of heat damage, and then you go get boost ball, then you come back from Phendrana, and then you get space jump by rolling up a half pipe with boost ball. And then you go back with space jump to go get wave beam. But by getting it now, we not only speed up. Not only is our movement faster with dashing, because we can keep our dashes for twice as long now and keep that speed, but we also don't have to backtrack to go get space jump boots, which is a very important sequence break. So it saves a lot of time, and it really breaks open the early game and lets us get a lot of items that we weren't supposed to get in the intended way. So like, for example, here, you're supposed to get Missile Launcher from Hive Totem, but we can actually jump. Since we have Space Jump, we can go get a missile without having to even go close to Hive Totem. We can get this missile in the half pipe right here. And the other trick I use here is called a slope jump. So when you jump up a slope in this game, the game gives you a bunch of vertical speed, and you go up way higher when you jump up against an upward slope. So think of it, you're just like jumping and sliding up a slope, and it's giving you more height. That's kind of how it works. And we also got that energy tank because we have space jump right now. You can space jump to that. So now we're going to go get Morph Ball. You see me doing a bunch of R jumps through this room because we don't have Morph Ball yet, but we're going to be rolling out of it because it's going to be much faster because you're colliding with walls a lot there. So now we have Morph Ball. For RTA, it would actually be faster to leave this room and not trigger the cutscene, but because the community goes by in-game time, we actually watch this cutscene because it unmorphs you in the cutscene. And so it's a little bit faster in-game time, but it's slower RTA. And you're going to be seeing that theme a lot. We're not going to be skipping cutscenes right away sometimes because Samus moves her position. And so you want to get that free in-game time. And I somehow can't get on this ledge. You can dash this tree and do a slope jump up the tree to get to this door faster. Alright, so now we're going to go get Charge Beam. Charge Beam is not required to beat the game, but it's definitely very nice for killing enemies very fast because Charge Beam does a lot of damage compared to just single shots. Like Power Beam shots do 2 damage, and fully charged Power Beam shot does something like 50 damage. And so Charge Beam is very nice for killing enemies very fast when we have to kill enemies. Normally we'll just be ignoring enemies. But early game is pretty straightforward. We kind of just go get all the stuff that we have to get, and then go fight Flagra. And then we get into the meat of the run after Flagra. Excuse me. So, Watery Hall here is actually a very difficult room to do well. So we're supposed to scan all these points, and we got to do it fast. So there's a point down here. I hesitated a little bit. If we can do a slope jump over this guy. Those tentacles are very annoying in this game. We actually nickname them spankweeds because they throw you across the room sometimes. They have a lot of knockback. And you're actually going to see me get just screwed by a spankweed when trying to dash out of this room. So now we have Charge Beam. Yeah, there's not really much we use Charge Beam for besides just killing stuff fast because we actually don't get any beam combos in this run. Yeah, so I got slapped there by the spankweed. And so, yeah, it's very unfortunate when that happens. Because otherwise I would have been to the door by now, because you can dash all the way to the door off that scan point that I tried to scan off of. So now we're going to go get Morph Ball bombs. The boss for Morph Ball is actually very annoying. His name is, well, we nicknamed him Zoid. He's the Incinerator Drone, and he's random. He has about, I want to say 25 seconds of variance. It's around that number. It's not for sure. But, so basically what happens is just his weak point takes a certain amount of time to pop up, and I failed this dash here for whatever reason. I think I bumped a wall. But his weak point takes a certain amount of time to pop up, and the time that takes is random, and it has to do it 4 times. And so this is kind of just an auto scroller boss, and we can't really control how much time we lose or save here. Yeah. That's just kind of it. There's not much we can do about this boss, except just wait him out. So interestingly enough, this boss, you're supposed to like dodge his like flames he shoots out, but there's actually a standable spot right on him, and you can just sit here and not have to dodge his flames and just shoot him. So like that. That was a decently fast first phase. So you see that little red weak point pops up. So really we just sit on top of him and shoot these wasps until his weak point pops up, and then we eventually kill him. He likes to take a little while. He likes to take his time. But yeah, there's not much more about this boss. Morph Ball bombs are very useful in this game. You do a bunch of double bomb jumps in this game, which gain height in Morph Ball tunnels. Yeah, and they're very, very required. So yeah, you can tell if Zoid is if it was a good or bad Zoid because you can actually time it with the music. So if you kill him before the music loops, it's generally an okay Zoid. If you kill him right near the music loop, then it's about an average Zoid. If you kill him way before or way after the music loops, then it's a really bad Zoid. So right there, the music was about to loop, so that was about an average Zoid. He was kind of okay. He could have saved about, 10 to 15 seconds, but he also could have lost that much. Alright, and so now we're going to go head to Arboretum and Sun Chamber and go fight Flagra. And he will give us the Varia suit, which will let us progress in the game and go to Magmore Caverns. So another trick I should talk about here is normally when you do the run completely inbounds, so no out of bounds, you're going to go do this puzzle in this room in Energy Core. But we're actually going to skip this because I do an out of bounds sequence later in the game that basically I don't have to do this because I skip over the locked door because I'm out of bounds. So yeah, we're gonna get this missile expansion here quick. This is actually called Lunchbox Missile or Happy Meal Missile, I think. One of those two, because this looks like a Happy Meal box. It's interesting. A lot of the names in this game are kind of weird, but that's a funny one. So we're actually going to climb Arboretum. This is kind of like Watery Hall, where you're supposed to scan a bunch of runes to open the gate. But the gate's actually very small here, and we can actually do a double bomb jump over the gate. So a double bomb jump works. It's an intended mechanic in the game. And you can do a bomb, and then you lay 2 bombs before the bomb goes off, and then you hit both bombs in midair, and you can go over the gate right here by doing that. And so now we're heading to Flog. Flogger is a very boring boss. He actually takes about, I want to say like 15 seconds in-game time to actually kill, but he takes a really long time because its cutscenes are about 20 seconds long for each cutscene, and it plays about 4 times. And we can't skip them. So yeah, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to knock down all of his mirrors here and go into these bomb slots and blow up the bomb slots. We're only going to do this one because this one's just fast. And all the other ones, we're actually not going to knock down the mirrors because for whatever reason, you can actually get right next to the bomb slot, but on the outside of the tunnel. And when you lay a bomb next to it, the hitbox for the bomb slot actually extends a little bit out. So if you lay a bomb right next to the bomb slot, it still counts as being destroyed. So this is also where we show off some of the power of scan dashing. You can actually dash over these bomb slots and get right into the bomb slot and blow up the bomb slots from there. And so we're going to do that 3 more times, or 2 more times rather. And so yeah, next we'll dash off of the vines on the door and go all the way to the bomb slot. And these are very cool looking ones. And show off. These are some of the harder scan dashes in the game because you have to do some bends. So when you're scan dashing in midair, to go completely sideways, you can actually just not hold anything, and you'll go just whatever speed you had when you let go of L, and whatever direction as well. But you can actually change your direction in midair by turning Samus. So right there, we actually turned to the left, and so we bent the dash in a curve around the bomb slot, so we'd actually land in the right spot. And so that's one of the things that makes dashing very complex in this game is being able to turn and change your direction while you're speeding up from a dash. And so now Flogger is down, so we get to watch more cutscenes. Yay. Yeah, Flogger is not very exciting, mostly because of the cutscenes. But after this, we actually get into the more exciting part of the run, which I'm very happy about. Some of the harder tricks, some of the flashier tricks, just some of the cooler stuff. So now we have Varia suit. So if you didn't have enough cutscenes during Flogger, you get another about 30-second one here of just Samus floating in the air, gaining her suit. I'd also be glad I don't play with Fusion suit. Fusion suit is gross. Anybody who plays it is objectively wrong. So now we have Varia suit, so we can go to Magmor. But there's one more trick we actually have to do before we go to Magmor. And we're going to get an artifact early. So if you don't know, the artifacts are basically the keys in this game. There are 12 of them, and they're the keys to get to the final boss of the game. And so we get the first one here. This one's called Artifact of Wild. You're supposed to get this way later. You're supposed to have Spider Ball, and you're supposed to have Super Missiles and climb this room. But what we're going to do here is we're going to morph into the side of this wall, and we're going to bomb jump back up because the trigger for it is actually, let me see, the trigger is a little bit above that where that spider track ends. And so we're actually going to bomb jump all the way up because this wall is kind of sticky. And so we're going to bomb jump all the way back up, and we're going to unmorph back into the tunnel, and we'll have hit the trigger. Now this is a one-shot trick, and if you fail it, the run is basically over. You either have to wall crawl, or go out of bounds rather. You have to go out of bounds to get back up there, or you have to come back with Spider Ball and Super Missiles, and those waste about 5 and 10 minutes respectively. So in a marathon, I would have a safety save for this. I would have a backup save that's after this ghost fight, so that if I failed it, I can go to that save. The trick is not terribly difficult, so I probably won't fail it, but you know, it's a marathon and anything can happen. When your nerves get to you, sometimes the easy tricks become hard tricks. But that's just, that's just how it goes sometimes. So now we have to fight these ghosts. These ghosts are very random, but as you can see here, I'm actually stun locking this ghost to kill him. If you shoot a charged shot, it doesn't have to be fully charged, but it has to be like partially charged at least. If you shoot a charged shot right as they're about to dash, like that, then you can actually knock them back and they'll get stunned. And so what you can do is if you chain that, you can actually stun lock them and kill them very fast. And this ghost for kind of trolled me, but oh well. The ghosts are kind of random. They're random where they show up. Like, that was a very bad place for them to show up because I can't stun lock them there. So they're random where they show up, so like what spot they choose to be in, and it takes sometimes a random amount of time for them to actually show up, and it's random what attack they do. If they go up in the air like that, it's actually kind of difficult to stun lock them. So that's bad RNG if they go up in the air. It's also bad RNG if they just sit there for a long time and don't do anything, because they can just sit there and not show up for some amount of time. I don't actually know. But they can just sit there and not show up, and that's really bad. It's very bad RNG. So this ghost fight was decent. The last ghost kind of trolled me, but the first two ghosts were okay. Alright, so now we go into Magmor, some of the fun stuff. So the next item in the sequence is a Boost Ball. And yeah, as I said, Boost Ball is very fast. It's almost twice as fast as just rolling in Morph Ball when you use the Boost Ball. And so we're going to go down the elevator to Magmor right now. And so after this elevator is where I would have the safety save for Early Wild if I were to fail it. Luckily in this run, how the route works is actually pretty safe for marathons. There's only 2 tricks where there's not really a convenient save station, and there are 3 save files in this game, so I can use 2 of them to have backup saves in case I were to soft lock or die or fall or whatever. But every other hard trick in the game has a pretty convenient save station, so we can actually save and be pretty safe in this run if I were to fail or die, which is very nice and pretty marathon friendly, actually. Alright, so, oh, I lied. Boost Ball is not next, but Boost Ball is the next major progression item, I suppose. We're going to get Artifact of Nature here. So, apparently, the intended way to get this artifact, you're supposed to Super Missile the pillar right there. I don't know if that's actually true. That's just something Kirby Master said. So, I don't know if that's actually true or not. But you can actually shoot 2 missiles at that and the pillar will break. So yeah, now we're just moving through Magmor. This movement gets pretty interesting in this next room. You can dash across this platform and then you can R-jump across a few platforms. You can actually also bunny hop and save this entire dash, but I choose not to do it because the puffers can sometimes just throw you. Puffers have a lot of knockback if you run into them. And next we actually show off a very, very cool looking scan dash. We're actually going to dash off of a rock all the way up to that bridge up there, off of a puffer. Yeah, so we go flying across this lava pit all the way to this bridge. Alright, next is an E-Tank that actually a lot of casual players had a lot of trouble getting because you have to do 3 double bomb jumps in a row. As a speedrunner, double bomb jumps aren't very hard for me, but casual, I remember in my casual run this was actually very difficult, and I hated life because I could not double bomb jump for the life of me. But yeah, that one's called Race Tank. We call it Race Tank because usually runners only get it when they feel like they have to do safety strats, because a lot of fast runners don't get that. I get that in a run because I kind of need it. It's a very in-the-way energy tank. And if I didn't get that in my speed run, I would get it in a marathon, which is really safe. Alright, so next we're going to go through Phendrana Drifts. Up next is actually another example of wasting RTA to gain in-game time. So Samus actually walks forward during this cutscene. And so we if you skip it, though, she doesn't walk forward. So we only skip it after she's done walking forward like that. So that would actually be a little bit backwards from where I started if I had skipped the cutscene right away. So we watched the cutscene on purpose. So now we're just heading towards Phendrana Canyon to go get Boost Ball. Boost Ball is not only fast, it actually has a lot of very glitchy mechanics with it. And there's actually going to be a trick coming up in the out-of-bounds sequence I'm about to do called Wave Sun, where I'm going to be using the Boost Ball to confuse the game into giving me some items I shouldn't have yet. But we'll talk about that when we come to it. So this movement actually is pretty sweet. You can dash across this entire room. I think I actually failed it. Yeah, I did too good of an R jump and I went over the platform. But if you land on that platform, as you saw, I targeted that guy, and you can dash across him to this platform right here, and then dash all the way into the Boost Ball chamber. And it's very cool looking. Unfortunately, I failed it, but you know, maybe that won't happen. We can always hope, right? So yeah, now we're gonna head back. We're gonna go get Wave Beam now. But we're not gonna get in the way that you think. So normally, what's supposed to happen is you're supposed to kill the Sheegoth boss to get the Wave Beam. We're actually gonna go out of bounds here and skip it. And in a trick we call Wave Sun. So we call it Wave Sun because not only are we getting the Wave Beam, but we're also getting the Artifact of Sun, which is in Chozo Ice Temple. By using a glitch with the boost ball. Because we can pick up with both the Wave Beam and the Artifact of Sun simultaneously, and since the Wave Beam cutscene warps us into the room with Wave Beam, we actually have Wave Beam, and then we can leave the room because and just skip the boss. So right here after this cutscene, we're gonna dash across the entirety of Phendrana Shorelines and get onto that little out of bounds area up by where Ridley is. And we're going to land up there. This is a very cool looking dash. You can go across the entire room. And then we just boost over to where the door is to get into Chozo Ice Temple. And so out of bounds has a lot of interesting mechanics. You can't just go wherever you want when you're out of bounds. You actually do have to follow the rooms, and you have to make the game still think that you're going through the rooms. So that's why you see me jumping on doors. I'm making the game think that I keep going into the next room, even though I'm actually outside of the room. Alright, so we jump up here. We're actually going to scale Chozo Ice Temple out of bounds, which is kind of difficult. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get up here and we're going to R-jump over this rock. And then what we're going to do, we're actually going to transition this door, which means to make the game think I'm going into this room. But then we're going to leave, and the game thinks I'm still in that small tunnel room over there. The game thinks I'm in there, because you can see on the minimap it's centered on that room. But I'm actually still in Chozo Ice Temple. And basically what that does is it makes the game load Chozo Ice Temple's collision wrong. And so you can see I could go back in bounds by boosting into back into the room doing what's called a ceiling warp. Because the game thinks I'm in the wrong room, it's loading the collision wrong. And so now we have the trick that I was talking about. This is called infinite speed. So infinite speed, there's a lot to talk about. So as you see right now, I'm kind of stuck in the wall, and I'm holding left on the GameCube control stick. So what's happening here is that since I'm holding the correct angle, Samus's speed is going up exponentially. So I'm gaining a lot of speed. And eventually what's going to happen, it'll take about 50 seconds, but eventually what's going to happen is Samus's speed is actually going to go to, it's going to get too high so that the game can't count it anymore, and so the game will set it to not a number, or nan. And it's very interesting what happens when you have not a number speed. First off, the shell on Samus's morph ball is actually going to disappear. And second, when you boost into a wall when you have not a number speed, the game kind of freaks out. And so what it does is the game thinks, when you boost into a wall while you have not a number speed, the game thinks that you're touching every actor in every loaded room. So you can see here, I get warped into here, so I have two Samuses on the screen because what happened is I touched every enemy in every loaded room. I touched every cutscene and loading trigger in every loaded room. And I touched every item in every loaded room. So I got the Wave Beam. But what you didn't see is I also got Artifact of Sun. Because there's not really a cutscene that plays for Artifact of Sun, so the Wave Beam cutscene overrid it. So you never saw me get Artifact of Sun, but I do have it. And so I do not have to come back for it. And that whole trick is just so I don't have to backtrack for Artifact of Sun later. Because normally you're supposed to come back with Plasma Beam and melt that ice. Yeah, so now we're going to go back to Chozo. We're going to be getting Artifact of Life Giver, and we're also going to be getting Ice Beam. And Chozo movement is actually pretty cool the second time around. But also Magmor movement is very interesting. Magmor has some of the hardest movement in the game. Probably only second to Mines, actually, in my opinion. Magmor has some very interesting movement. But yeah, first we're going to go up here and get Artifact of Strength. It's very confusing because there's an artifact called Artifact of Warrior. Artifact of Strength is in Warrior Shrine, so it's kind of confusing. Yeah. Artifact of Warrior is later in Mines. But yeah, so we're going to be going up here. We're going to be dashing across the monitor station to get up to this ledge that you're supposed to use Boost Ball for, but that's slow, so we're not going to do that. You're supposed to go in that spinner and extend a bridge. But you can just dash off of a puffer to get up here. So yeah, we just get Artifact of Strength, so we don't have to backtrack for it later. Because it's just in the way, so we're just going to get it. And now we're going to leave and go back to Chozo. So yeah, now that we have the Boost Ball, we have a lot of very fast movement we can do with the Boost Ball in Magmor, because there's kind of a lack of scan targets in a lot of rooms in Magmor, especially in these tunnel rooms. Because there's just a lot of tunnels in Magmor, because it's, you know, it's an underground lava area. So there's not very many scan points. So we can actually do a little dash and dash up this Triclops and get over here. I was going to do a bunny hop, but I pressed B too quickly, so I did not jump. Yeah. And doors sometimes in this game just are not. Doors close if you leave like their triggered area. And sometimes if you just jump a little bit too high, the door thinks that you're not in front of it anymore, so it just closes, and it's very annoying. Especially when you morph in front of the door and then it closes. Because then you have to bomb it. You have to open the door again by damaging the door. Yeah, so we're just heading back to Chozo right now. We're going to get a missile expansion under this bridge because it's very in the way. We only get 6 missile expansions in this game, which adds up to 30 total missiles. So we don't get very many missiles because we don't really need that many. Really, we only get 30 missiles because that's the number we need to kill the boss for Artifact Warrior and to kill Ridley very fast. So that's really the only reason we get even 30 missiles. Like, you'd probably get 15, honestly, if we didn't have to have a lot of missiles for those bosses. So yeah, we're going to go get Artifact of Life Giver, which is at the bottom of a water room. So, interestingly enough, slope jumping underwater, because of how water physics work, slope jumping underwater is it gets you even more height. So you can skip gravity suit because you're supposed to have gravity suit to go get Life Giver. But because of slope jumping and gaining way more height than it should underwater, you can actually skip gravity suit here and just get Artifact of Life Giver without having gravity suit. And we're never going to pick up gravity suit in this run. It's just not needed. The only required suits are Varia suit and Phazon suit. But yeah, so the entire point of beating the whole game is you're supposed to get all these 12 artifacts. That's like the main goal of the game. Getting all these artifacts, yeah. Vertical doors are kind of annoying in this game. They have a property where they try to like pull you up through them, but if you're not in the right spot, they bonk you against the ceiling and then throw you back down. So yeah, now we're gonna go on our way to go get Ice Beam. We're going to do the trick that I mentioned earlier where we go out of bounds to skip not only the puzzle in an energy core that we skipped earlier, we're also going to skip a ghost fight. And I like to joke that the trick is called IBBF AF, so it's Ice Beam before Flagra, after Flagra, and it's named that because we used to get Ice Beam before we ever fought Flagra, but now it's faster to get it after Flagra. So, here, oh god, yeah, this tree is annoying. I bonked against the tree when I tried to jump up to this platform. But yeah, so since the community just has interesting names, we just call it Ice Beam before Flagra, after Flagra. Oh, I almost forgot. We're going to do another infinite speed before we actually go get Ice Beam. So this is the last infinite speed that we're going to do, so enjoy it while it lasts. So we're going to do another one, and this time we're actually going to get power bombs. And I should also talk about another interesting mechanic with infinite speed. So when your speed is set to not a number, your camera, when you unmorph, is also set to not a number. So what happens is the camera freaks out if you unmorph, and we didn't have to worry about it in Wave Sun because we touched the wave beam trigger. We touched the cutscene for the wave beam. So if you enter a cutscene, it gets rid of what we call light show, which is the glitchiness in the camera because the camera doesn't know where to be because your speed is so it's not in the right spot. So we didn't have to worry about it there because we touched a cutscene, but we will have to worry about it here because power bombs do not have a cutscene Well, it doesn't have a cutscene that changes your position. That's the main key. We have to have our position changed and set by the game so that the camera knows where to be. So we're going to do that by using the save station in Chozo Ruins to do that. But we actually can't. We have to go all the way there in Morph Ball, and we can't unmorph, or else we get Light Show. Now, we could still get there even with Light Show, but it's very hard because you can't actually shoot your beam in Light Show, and you can't see anything because of a bunch of glitchy polygons cover the screen. So yeah, we boost against the wall here and we hit the power bombs. And so basically what early power bombs allows us to do is that we don't have to go into mines and then leave mines and then come back with X-ray visor. We can get X-ray visor without having to go get the main power bombs in phase-on mines. And so we only have to do phase-on mines in one trip, which saves a lot of backtracking. So yeah, if we ever unmorphed here, we still have Light Show, even though I actually unmorphed and remorphed. So there's a weird thing where if you have Light Show, you can have a camera hint, and the game doesn't freak out yet. So the reason we did that is so that we could use the boost ball again. Because if you use boost ball with infinite speed, the game makes you touch loading triggers again, and sometimes that can crash the game if you try to load too many rooms at once. So yeah, this is the save station, and I'll show you infinite speed here. That's what infinite speed looks like, is this glitchy polygon thing. And since we entered the save station, we don't have Light Show anymore, because the game now knows where we are, basically. All right, so now we're gonna do IBBF AF, and we're gonna go out of bounds and skip a ghost fight and skip the puzzle to unlock the door in Energy Core. And so I like to joke that IBBF AF is it's a chance to save 30 seconds, kind of. So you save about 10 seconds from skipping the puzzle, but you also save 30 seconds from skipping this ghost fight. But you still have to skip him later on in the game. And so I like to joke that it is a chance to save 30 seconds and not really saving 30 seconds. Because you save 30 seconds if you do this and you skip the ghost later. Which is at the very end of the game, so it's kind of annoying because you just have a big amount of time lost at the very end of the game. Another interesting mechanic about Out of Bounds is that the game doesn't just you can't just go to rooms and change rooms whenever you want. You actually have to load every room. So you saw me morph onto that morph ball tunnel, which seemed like it was just slow and why would I do that? But I actually hit a load trigger for this room. And that's why I did that. So if you see me jumping in weird spots, it's probably because I need to hit a load trigger. So like right there was a load trigger for this room. I'm going to morph onto this tunnel to load Hall the Elders. All right, and so we're also skipping this ghost. So the transition trigger, so doors have a trigger that tell you when you're in the next room. And the ghost fight trigger is right next to that, and if you touch that trigger, it'll lock the doors. And so it's very annoying. Oh, almost screwed up there. But yeah, so now you can door warp, which is where you can only really use it on rooms that load very fast. So like right there, that room loads very fast because it's only a tunnel. It doesn't take very long to load. But if you shoot a door and you're next to the door starts loading. The room starts loading, rather. And since that room doesn't take very long to load, the room can load around you there, so you can get back in bounds. So now we have the ice beam. So now we're gonna go get X-ray visor, which we only get because it's required to kill Omega Pirate, which is required to beat the game because he has phase-on suit, which we can't beat the game without. So X-ray is just sort of required by association with Omega Pirate because we need a X-ray visor to kill Omega Pirate. So otherwise we probably wouldn't. We probably would still get this item because it has an artifact next to it, but the item would not really be required. But we probably would still get it just because it's right there. So yeah, since we don't have Spider Ball, you're supposed to have Spider Ball, but we can just jump on these spider tracks because, you know, it's shaped like a big L and get up to the store. So this is where you'd have to power bomb this thing. So that's why doing IS saves time, the infinite speed to get power bombs, because we don't have to go through through phase-on mines and then come back. So yeah, now we're gonna go get X-ray visor and yeah, this room. Life Grove Tunnel is very poorly coded, and so there's a lot of collision that can just stop you from getting up there. Yeah, it's really annoying, and the room can just troll you sometimes. The half pipe was not very well made. You can just get stuck for no reason sometimes. All right, so now we have Extra Advisor, and the Artifact of Chozo is also in this room, so we're gonna go get it because we just get it because we have power bombs and we need to beat the game with. Yeah, so we're just gonna get this artifact because it's right here. So yeah, that's why I'm saying we probably also would get Extra Advisor just because it's right there. And even that cutscene actually unmorphs you, so it might even be fast to do that, to go get the power bomb again. Yep. So now we're gonna go leave, and we're gonna take some elevators. So elevators take a long time RTA, but they don't take any time for the in-game timer, because the in-game timer only increments when you have control of direct control of Samus. So right now, the in-game timer is rolling. If I pause, the in-game timer would stop. If I entered a cutscene, the in-game timer would stop until I leave that cutscene, so like an elevator. So taking elevators is actually pretty fast for the in-game timer in this game, even though they take like something like 25 seconds real time. So yeah, the ultimate goal is we're going to go back to Magmore Caverns and go get Plasma Beam, which is the strongest beam in the game. It does a lot of damage. And is very good for killing enemies very fast, because a lot of times you'll shoot the enemy and they'll just like most enemies die in one charge plasma shot hit. Most non-boss enemies. And so Plasma Beam is just very strong. So yeah, there's just a lot of cutscenes, so there's not very much to talk about here, other than, oh, look at that, a lot of cutscenes. The game has a lot of cutscenes in it, so my usual run takes about an hour and 8 minutes. Well, actually, that's my PB. It takes about an hour and 8 minutes to beat the game on the in-game timer, but real time it takes about an hour and a half, so there's about 20 minutes of cutscene in this game. Yeah, I was trying to bunny hop, but I actually hit the branch. That's kind of annoying, because you can actually... I talked about bunny hopping earlier with R jumps, but you can actually do the same thing with a scan dash, where you can keep all of your speed from the scan dash and keep going when you do a bunny hop on the ground. But unfortunately, there I hit the branch and lost all my speed. Oh, and we take a save here. Usually I don't save, but for marathons I will save. This refills your power bombs because your ship refills not only your energy but also your ammunition, so all of your missiles and all of your power bombs. So we take that there to get basically a guaranteed power bomb drop. Oops. I hit the ceiling right there. And so I got denied. Yeah, zoomers are very annoying sometimes. When you try to boost through these guys, they either sometimes will just instantly die and you'll keep going through them with all your speed, or you'll like stick against them, and sometimes like that, I was on top of that guy and I couldn't move until he died. It's very annoying. So yeah, this next room, Twin Fires Tunnel, shows off some of the power of R-jumping. R-jump gets you a lot of distance. You can actually jump across this entire room. So we're jumping across this entire lava pit onto a platform that's higher than the platform we started at by using an R-jump. And normally you're supposed to like use the spider wall to get across that room, but with a very good R-jump you can get across that entire room. So yeah, we're going to keep the lock on here to be able to dash across this lava pit. It's just fast. Alright, now we do a slope jump up here. Oh, I screwed up the first time. Alright, there we go. We slope jump up here, and we can do an R jump across this to skip having to have a grapple beam. Another item we will not ever get in this run. So yeah, normally you're supposed to have grapple beam. You're supposed to go onto the other side of the room and grapple across onto these platforms, but you can just do an R jump. Another thing about R jumps is that not only are they good because they have a lot of speed, but since you turn in midair, you can actually R jump to platforms and turn towards where your next jump is going to be or wherever you need to be facing. So like if you R jump to a door, you can turn in midair and face the door and shoot the door. And that's another reason that R jumps are very fast. And we're going to attempt another kind of tricky R jump because it's actually an R jump that's also combined with a slope jump up this spider track right here. So we're going to do a slope jump off this and then do it into an R jump. I just barely didn't get enough height, but that's okay because the backup strat's very fast. So we can do a slope jump onto this. Oh, okay, I didn't fall off. Good. I almost fell off there. That the other side, if you have enough speed going down, you just slip off. But yeah, you can slope jump onto those spider, those like boxes or whatever, and jump to the door. Oh, another interesting mechanic about dashing. As you saw there, I jumped first and then I dashed with my second jump in the air. So if you do that, normally when you jump, you just like gain a bunch of speed. But if you jump and then you scan jump in the middle of your jump with your second jump, you actually get a lot of downwards momentum for whatever reason. And so you can use that to go flying down the room and hit the load trigger really fast for that reason. And so now we're going to be doing the rest of Phendrana, so we're going to be getting, I believe, 2 artifacts. Yeah, 2 artifacts. That's right. We're going to get 2 artifacts. We're also going to get Thermal Visor, which is not required to beat the game, but it's not very slow. It's in the way, so we just get it anyway because it saves time on the final boss. Because if you don't have a Thermal Visor during the final boss, you have to find the boss because the boss like transitions between all of your visors. I guess the thing is like it can change its frequency of emitting light or whatever. So you can see it in the normal visor, but then sometimes you can only see it in the thermal visor, and then sometimes only in the X-ray visor. So if we didn't have thermal visor, we'd have to find the boss without having thermal visor, which you can do with the scan visor, but it's just slow. So we just end up getting the thermal visor anyway. Yeah, this is an example of dashing. So the hardest part about dashing in this game is that since you have no sideways speed cap, if you turn in the middle of the dash and you start facing the direction that you're moving, the speed cap starts getting applied and you start slowing down. So the bread and butter of dashing is being able to dash to something while not looking at it. So dashing to a platform like that without looking at it, I was not able to look at that because if I turned toward the platform, I would lose all my speed and not make it. And so you have to just kind of know where the platform is and hope that you get there. Hope that you land on the right spot. So yeah, we got Artifact of Spirit here. We're going to go to the Pirate Labs now and get Artifact of Elder. And that'll be the last thing we'll have to get in Phendrana. So if you like Phendrana, then sorry. This part of Phendrana also just has the best music. I love this music. It's good music. Alright, there's a Hunter Metroid in this room, and sometimes he can troll you if you don't make it. So like I barely got on that platform, but this guy just pulled me off. Yeah, it's very annoying. Because they shoot like these little beams and they pull you towards them. So yeah, it's kind of risky to go through that room without killing the Hunter Metroid first, but that's slow, so we take the risk. And that time it did not work out for me. But luckily, it doesn't lose too much time. It lost like maybe 10 seconds to climb back up the room. Because it's just an R jumping across platforms. Alright, so Thermalizer is in this room, but we're going to get it on the way back. Because we're going to come back through this room. Because if you get Thermal Visor now, it sets a layer change, which has all the rooms dark now. And so it's just very annoying to get through all the rooms dark. And it also spawns different enemies. And the other part is that there's a certain enemy we need to manipulate in the next room, or not the next room, but the room 2 rooms from now, to break some glass. There's a pirate that jumps through the glass and breaks it, because right now we're going through Pirate Labs backwards. And so if we got through it the intentional way, we wouldn't have to manipulate this guy. This guy's the pirate's name is Edward, by the way. We as a community, we like to name every pirate that's annoying. And unfortunately, I got stuck on that wall, so I think that means I didn't go through the room fast enough, and so he did not trigger. So the reason we name him Edward is because of things like this, where you can try to manipulate him, and then sometimes he just doesn't care. He'll just give you the middle finger. And not help you out. I think this time he does it though, because I do a little bit better. So when that happens, we just have to reload the room. Yeah, that time he broke the glass. Yeah. So basically, we have to manipulate him by. We just have to trigger him, and if we don't step in certain parts of the room, then he will not think. He will just like jump through the glass. It's very confusing how it all works. But what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to kill this Metroid first, coming from the other door that we're about to go through. And then Edward jumps through the glass, and then you go down through the room. But since we entered Pirate Labs backwards, we have to manipulate him. So yeah, now we're gonna get Artifact of Elder in the control tower. Yes, Edward is very annoying. If we ever talk about a pirate that has a name, it's usually a very annoying pirate that we hate, and so we gave him a name because logic. So that everybody knows what pirate we're talking about when we say, oh, that pirate screwed me over. So we don't have to say that pirate in whatever lab. We can say, oh, Edward screwed me over or whatever. So yeah, that was unintentional way to knock down this tower. What you're supposed to like melt some glass. Oh, and yeah, this hitbox is kind of annoying on this artifact. But what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to melt some glass, and you're supposed to shoot through like a window to kill this, to knock down this tower, but you can actually jump over. The developers tried to not let you do that, as you can see with the force fields that happened. But, yeah. They didn't do a very good job of denying you. So, right now we have to farm for a power bomb drop, because we need a power bomb for the next area, and unfortunately Edward didn't drop one, and some other boxes that I checked didn't drop one. And so we have to farm one, and I'm getting pretty unlucky here. The power bomb drop rate in this room is not that bad, but I'm getting very unlucky. And, oh, there we got one. Good. So yeah, that's just, another form of RNG that can just kind of screw you over. And there I checked to make sure I still had the power bomb. Because I've actually done a thing in a run where I used the charge beam and I started heading toward the door to be fast, and I heard the sound of the power bomb going into my inventory, like collecting it. But it was the sound for an energy thing actually makes the same noise. So I thought I had a power bomb, but I didn't have one. We're getting that energy tank for safety. I usually don't get it, but since this is a marathon, I'm gonna be safe. That energy tank is actually called the E-Tank of Shame, but there's nothing shameful about getting it. So now we're gonna get thermal visor. And so it's all just like scanning these 4 computers in the room. So yeah, item is not required, but it is in the way, and it saves time later, so we end up getting it. It also makes some rooms that are dark rooms in later parts of the game a lot easier, because you can see the platforms you're supposed to land on a little bit easier. And so I will use it in one room, I think. Make it a little bit easier to traverse. So now we're just going to leave Phendrana. Sometimes a lot of runners here actually, mostly newer runners, will kill Thardus after getting thermal visor, but it's slow and it loses about 3 minutes. But the reason newer players do that is because there's a hard trick you have to do later in the game called spiderless shafts, because there's some vertical rooms in Phazon mines that you would need spider ball for, but we can do a bunch of hard bomb jumps to skip spider ball and save time, because Thardus is very slow and very annoying. He's not our friend, and so we skip him. Funnily enough, the boss is actually so bad and so annoying that a lot of randomizer players will actually like turn him off, like make sure he doesn't have a progression item in the logic, because we just hate Thardus that much. All right, so now we're going into the end game. We're gonna go to Phazon Mines here and get Phazon suit and a few artifacts and main power bombs. So we're gonna have some more power bombs. So yeah, we're also entering Phazon Mines from the back entrance. You're supposed to go through it first in Talon Overworld after you do the underwater crashed frigate that you saw in the beginning of the game. So you can go back to that area later in the game and it's like crashed or whatever. But we actually entered the back entrance because we have power bombs, and that's why we needed the power bomb drop in Vendrana. Is for that debris. So now we're just going to go, we're going to get power bombs first, and then we're going to go down. We're going to get Phazon suit from Omega Pirate, and then we're going to collect a few artifacts, and then we'll be out of here, and we'll be going to get 2 more artifacts, and then we'll be at the end game. So yeah, the run is about half an hour away from being over. Oh yeah, so we should talk about Elite Pirates. This guy we won't have to fight, we're skipping him. We're only triggering his cutscene because it unmorphs you. It makes it a little bit faster to touch this cutscene because of in-game time versus real time. So we're skipping this guy by using some platforms because there's no point in fighting him. Because we just want to get through the room. We don't care about killing that guy. But funnily enough, Elite Pirates and any sort of like big pirate in the game suffers from this programming error where they have to face you first before they start attacking you. So they have to like face directly at you. And so if you move to the side of them, they'll start turning towards you. And if you keep like looping around them and making them turn towards you, they like won't be able to find you, and they have to try to kill you. So you're gonna see here, I'm gonna stand to the side of this guy, and he's gonna start turning at me, and I'm just gonna pepper him with missiles. And so you saw he never actually attacked me there because he couldn't see me, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, they're programmed in that way, and it's very interesting. Alright, so we have to fight this security robot to get the power bombs. This is another random part of the game. It's actually made by the same guy who created the incinerator drone. His nickname is Zoid. That's why we call the incinerator drone Zoid. But this maze is also made by him, and so this guy just basically loves making random stuff. The maze is random how long it is, and we got kind of a bad maze here, I think. Yeah, this maze is pretty bad. The optimal maze is like, I think 17 squares, and this maze looks like to be in the middle 40s range. But you can get like, but yeah, there's a lot of variants. You can get like a 55 square maze, I think, or you can get a 17 square maze. So there's a lot of variants with the mazes, and it's very annoying. But yeah, that wasn't a very good maze. Usually you won't get a very good maze. You'll get like, I think the average is like 41 or something. It's always an odd number of squares for whatever reason. So yeah, so now we're just heading through lower mines, and we're gonna go get Phazon suit. Yeah, we pause here to actually it wastes RTA, but it's another example of saving in-game time, because what happens is whenever the game is trying to load a lot of things at once, like a lot of enemies or a big room or something like that, and you try to swap beams, the beam will actually like, it'll slow down and it'll not swap for a little bit, and then it'll swap after it's done loading all the stuff. So, but by pausing the timer, you're giving the game time to load, and so it'll just immediately swap after you pause, because you gave the game the time it needed to load the stuff that it was trying to load. Metroids are very annoying, and sometimes they can just get in your way and grab you sometimes. Luckily, it was not a very big deal if this guy grabbed me. But yeah, so this is the first room we have to skip Spider in. It's not particularly hard. This is not one of the spiderless shafts. Those are coming later after the Mega Pirate, and this guy just kept juking me. So yeah, we do a slope jump up here to get onto this platform, and we can dash off this missile expansion to the door. because normally you're supposed to use the spider ball to get up to this door. Alright, so now we get into lower mines. The fungal halls are a pretty hard movement in the game. And I'll point them out. They're just halls with a bunch of mushrooms. But yeah, so those lower mines is some of the hardest movement in the game. Probably the hardest, actually. Only rivaled by like Magmore. Some of the late Magmore movements are really difficult. Oh, this guy just this guy just got me, but oh well. So yeah, this is Fungal All A. It's only really annoying. It'd be an easy room if it didn't have all these Hunter Metroids that you had to kill. Because like I said before, if you ignore Hunter Metroids and just try to go past them, they will grab you and pull you down. And if you fall down this room, you have to go to this one mushroom, and you have to do most of the room over again. And so it's very annoying. Like sometimes a Hunter Metroid can grab you in the middle of that dash that I did off of I don't even know what this is, the glider, I think. Yeah, this is Fungal Hall B. It has a bunch of annoying Metroids in it. If you try to do this room fast and get stuck, the Metroids will grab you and lose a lot of time. You can dash off. You can dash off that Metroid. This room is significantly easier than Fungal Hall A, but still hard. And this is one of the hardest rooms to do well. This is MQB, Metroid Quarantine B. And so what you have to do is you have to do this dash across this pit. This is not only a difficult dash, but you also have 4 plasma troopers shooting at you at the same time. So if they shoot you and hit you in the middle of the dash, you'll lose most of your speed. And usually I don't save here, but since this will be a marathon, I'm going to save here in the marathon just to be safe, because there's a lot that can go wrong in the Omega Pirate fight. If sometimes the troopers that he spawns can just kill you. And it's very annoying since we have a low amount of health. I actually grabbed an extra energy tank just for this fight, as you saw the energy tank of shame. But yes, just like any other elite pirate, Omega Pirate suffers from the same thing, that if you walk around him and he can't see you, then he'll never attack you. So we're actually going to do that here and blow up all of his crystals by rapid fire missiles. So we had some targeting issues here. Yeah, so we can just walk around him and he'll never see me. He keeps turning to try to face me. And after we blow up all the crystals, we're going to attempt a trick called Trooper Skip. We have about I want to say a 1/6 of a second to get this trick. I don't actually know. But basically, you lay a power bomb under him when he's about to do that, and if you can interrupt his animation of calling the pirates down. Unfortunately, I didn't get it. I think I was too late on the power bomb drop. But you can skip his animation, and he won't spawn any troopers, and that's very good, and we go for it because these guys deal a lot of damage, and they get in the way when you try to kill a Mega Pirate. Like here, this would be a really bad fight if those guys had trolled me a little bit harder. But yeah, so here we're going to use 4 fully charged plasma beam shots, and then we're going to use a power bomb to finish off a Mega Pirate. So the reason we had to get X-ray visor is because you can't damage a Mega Pirate in the phase without having the X-ray visor equipped, and so that's the only reason we get X-ray visor. But yeah, so the interesting strat there is the power bombs can deal a lot of damage to a Mega Pirate, but you have to have X-ray visor pulled up. So you, what I did there is I laid the power bomb on his final pool and then dashed away and equipped X-ray visor just as he spawned, and then so the power bomb dealt a bunch of damage to him and finished him off. And it's very fast to do that too, because since you are pulling up the X-ray visor and the power bomb has like this constant damage field, you're dealing damage to him as soon as he spawns. So that's why it's fast to do it like that. But of course we have a limited amount of power bombs, so we can't just like power bomb him a million times. I had a little bit of trouble on this dash here. I think I bonked into something. Yeah, I bonked into the ground. I screwed up the bunny hop. But yeah, so now we're going back. We're only backtracking for Artifact of Newborn. Because you can either do an out of bounds to get Artifact of Newborn before having Phazon Suit, or you have to go back with Phazon Suit. And the out of bounds trick is very hard and very risky. It's very easy to soft lock in that trick. And so I consider it not very marathon safe, and I don't even go for it in runs. So yeah, this Metroid is a trick. But so I will not be doing it in the marathon, even though it is a very cool looking trick. It's just very difficult and not very marathon safe. But yeah, so basically what we call it early newborn. What it would do is we just wouldn't have to backtrack for this, and we could just immediately keep going after killing Omega Pirate. Alright, so now we're going to go back, and next up is actually the spiderless shafts that I was talking about. The vertical rooms where you have to have spider ball, but we skip it, and so we're going to do some bomb jumps to get through there. And so we're going back to go get Artifact of Warrior, the second to last artifact that we need to beat the game that we haven't gotten already. Or not second to last, third to last, rather. We do have Artifact of Truth. It's easy to forget about that one because it's in the place where you turn them all in. But I should talk a minute about spiderless shafts because there's going to be a very interesting trick coming up. It's called a BSJ, or a bomb space jump. So what happens in a bomb space jump is there is a mechanic in the game called an instant unmorph. Basically, if you block the camera and the camera can't see you unmorph, the game doesn't play the unmorphing animation. So like as you can see here, I'm going to unmorph to do this door, right? And so there's that little cutscene that plays. But if you obstruct the camera, you get an instant unmorph, and that cutscene doesn't play. And so what happens is there's another mechanic we abuse in the game with a BSJ, and it's the 22 frame rule. So for whatever reason, if you unmorph and you're not on the ground, you have 22 frames to do a jump from the point where you left the ground. So if we do a bomb jump and we get up in the air, from the point where we left the ground from the bomb jump, we have 22 frames. And normally that doesn't matter because the unmorphing cutscene takes a lot more than 22 frames, probably twice as much. So unless we could get an instant unmorph, we couldn't do it. But since we can get an instant unmorph, we can abuse that frame rule, and we can do a jump in midair, basically, because the game thinks you're still on the ground. The elite pirate is still here, and his trigger is still here, so we're going to skip the cutscene and skip having to fight him because he locks the doors by doing some very careful maneuvering there and skipping the trigger. So yeah, upcoming is the spiderless shaft. So we're going to do a BSJ in the first shaft to get through that. So yeah, the 22 frame rule, it's not when you unmorph, though. A lot of people think it's when you unmorph. That's not true. Because it is still a very tight jump because it's 22 frames from when you leave the ground. So we're going to do a double bomb jump here. And we're going to kill these guys because these guys can just block you sometimes. So we're going to get in here. We're going to get in this spot. We're going to do a DBJ, and we're going to unmorph out of the DBJ. And since since that was within 22 frames of leaving the ground from the DBJ, we got to jump. So basically we combined a space jump and a double bomb jump all in one motion, and so we were able to get enough height to land on a platform to get out of here. And first try is pretty good. Usually the spider track there control you because it's a very weird collision that you're trying to jump into. Yeah, this rock up here is very annoying, but fortunately I have a setup for it that I can get. So then we jump on this moving part, and then we jump up to this peg, and then we're out of there. So those were the spiderless shafts. So now there's no more hard tricks to skip spider ball. This pirate's name, this power trooper right here, is named Calvin. And as you can see right there, he's very annoying. That's actually one of the least annoying things he can do, is knocking you down this room, just getting in your way. He can actually fall down this room and be down here with these other pirates, and you have to fight this big pirate while also having Calvin shooting at you. So it's very annoying. Luckily, he did not fall down. Usually, I'd probably just kill him if he fell down here, because it's very annoying what he does. Oh, and I think one of my missiles missed. I had perfectly enough missiles to kill this guy. You need exactly 24 missiles, and I had 24, but I think one of them missed. So that's unfortunate. So yeah, because he knocked me down, what you're supposed to do in this room is you're supposed to boost across and blow up the wall that you actually infinite boosted through. Because you could see at the beginning of the room I got stuck in some sort of invisible wall. The wall is only visible from one side, and you'll see it when we come back through the room. But you can boost through it because the game doesn't expect you to come from that side. So you can boost through it, and what you're supposed to do is supposed to boost through and then blow up that wall so that you can get back out through this room, but Calvin knocked me down, so we have to do it second, which is kind of slow. But oh well. Yeah, Calvin is being a jerk. Oh, the turrets are pretty annoying here too. I think Calvin ended up falling off the catwalk after we came back up, so that was lucky that he didn't do it before. So yeah, that wall right there that we just lasered, that is the wall that you need to blow up. And that's the wall we boosted through from the wrong side, because the game expects you to come from the bottom of the room and then come back up. But since we entered mines backwards, we have to boost through the door. This room is also pretty annoying. It just has one annoying jump at the very end. We call it the ore processing jump because this room is called ore processing. Imagine that. But yeah, the jump has very annoying collision. And this guy controlled me. Nope, he didn't actually. Never mind. We did. I just took the line up a little too hastily here, and that's why I fell off. But yeah, so that's the jump. It can be very annoying. I do a setup for that jump because, yeah, this is kind of an annoying jump. And I'd rather get it first try than get it fast sometimes. And I'm looking around for this Metroid because he's trying to get me. Oh, and he trolled. Some mad jukes. But yeah, but right now we're just heading back to Chozo Ruins to get the final artifact, second to last artifact, Artifact of World, and then we're gonna go beat the game. Yeah, fortunately we get it this time. So yeah, you can kind of slide up under that collision. The collision bear is very annoying because the spider track there is shaped like an upside down U, and so you can only stand in the middle of that U, and so otherwise you just like slide off. But with the setup I use, it has barely enough speed to just get you onto that middle part of the U without actually going over it. Yeah, so now we're going into the final bosses. The final bosses are pretty easy, and they're also kind of interesting, just how you fight them and how to fight them fast. But first we have one more trick that we have to talk about. And remember when I said that IBBF AF has a chance to save 30 seconds because we have to skip the same ghost later? Well, yeah, we're going to do that to get Artifact of World. So it's called Ghost Skip because it skips the ghost. So this is where you would save that 30 seconds that you had the chance to save earlier. We're going to go back into Chozo from here and go do Ghost Skip. So yeah, one thing I need to talk about, the reason we even have to do this skip is because we have to activate a bomb slot that's all the way across the room. And if you fall down the room, then you're triggering the ghost. Because the room is just filled with this big trigger that makes the ghost fight you if you touch it. And so we have to go across the entire room without touching that trigger by just not falling down, basically. And then, yeah, and it's kind of difficult, but it's not really too bad once you get used to it. So yeah, this is Ghost Skip. We're going to jump over to that peg over there. And I think I ended up falling off. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I didn't get enough height, or sorry, enough distance to make it onto that peg. So yeah, we have to fight this ghost. So this loses the 30 seconds that we could have gained earlier. But luckily, this ghost fight is a little bit faster because you can use X-ray visor. So earlier when I talked about ghosts can just take a random amount of time to show up. If you're using X-ray visor, that doesn't apply because you can still see them. So now we have to go activate this bomb slot up here. And I ended up failing the easy part of the trick. The hard part of the trick is actually falling back onto this peg in Morph Ball. So you have to fall back onto that peg that it jumped on because you can't unmorph up here. So what you have to do is you have to fall off back down onto the peg. And so it's kind of obnoxious to do that. So yeah, as you can see, it's kind of hard because sometimes you can just like keep some of your momentum and fall off. Yeah, so what was supposed to happen is you're supposed to go up in that bomb slot and not touch the ghost trigger, and then you fall back down onto the peg, and then you dash across the room up to these colored bomb slots and get Artifact of World, which is down in the ice door right there. So yeah, now we just need one more artifact, and it's in the Artifact Temple where we turn all the artifacts in. And from there we'll be fighting Ridley, and then we'll be fighting Metroid Prime Phase 1 and 2, and that'll be the rest of the game. Yeah, this slope jump is kind of annoying. You can slope jump off that statue, but it's kind of weird how you have to do it. And some of these stone toads are very annoying to hop onto. They're the platform where you can hop onto them, where it's standable, is kind of annoying. Yeah, so now we're just making a beeline back for Artifact Temple and finishing the game from there. Yeah, so interesting thing about this door, you can shoot it while you're doing an R jump through there and be able to morph through, and that's just a fast little movement check we can do, and it looks pretty cool. So we're going to be attempting the same dash we attempted earlier, but we ran into the branch. I think I failed it again. And I failed it just because I jumped too late, because normally I jump a little bit earlier than that and I go over the branch. And then you can do a bunny hop to keep all of your speed from your dash. It also helps you not fall in the water, which is... water slows you down when you don't have a gravity suit. And since we don't get a gravity suit, we get slowed down by water. It's just annoying, but oh well. Ah. And now we'll be attempting the infamous ship dash. It's the easiest hard dash in the game. So yeah, you can dash off the ship all the way up to this platform right here. Yep, so now we're just heading to Artifact Temple. Funnily enough, Artifact Temple has so much going on in it that the room takes forever to load. So yeah, we kind of have to sit here and wait for the room to load in front of this door. But yeah, so now we're going to go on to the Ridley fight. So Ridley has some interesting mechanics with him. He has like his first phase where he kind of like flies around, and then when when he's at 1/4 of his starting health, he loses his wings, and his wings like burn up, and he goes into his ground phase. But interestingly enough, the developers forgot to make him immune to the boost ball in his air phase, but he is immune to it in his ground phase. So basically, the boost ball does something like 100,000 damage per frame or something stupid. I don't actually know the number. But it's a lot. So if you boost ball into Ridley, then it immediately sends him into his ground phase. So you can see how much his health is right now. He's at about 4/5 of his starting health. We're gonna send him all the way to the quarter health with one boost. And so you can either do it. We're actually gonna go for a mid-air boost here, and I think I got it. Looks like I got it. But if he swoops by and you can boost into him, yeah. So that's actually a pretty hard one to do. And it saves a little bit of in-game time because there's a cutscene that plays while he plays, instead of wasting in-game time while you watch him in the game. And now the ground phase is a bunch of RNG of what attacks he chooses to use. That dashing attack he used is bad RNG, and he does it again. And you can actually, like I went for a snipe there. You can actually, I think I went for it too fast, but you can hit him. You can hit him in the mouth, and that time I aimed too low. But you can hit him in the mouth before he does the dash, and you can interrupt his dash. But I think now he gives me good RNG. So yeah, what we're supposed to do, we just hit him in the mouth, and then we rapid fire missile him with the chest. All right, and so after this happens, where he like clutches his heart and like kind of shakes around, he's now faster. So like that snipe I did was a lot harder than faster. I ended up getting it twice. Wow, it's pretty hard to do. The snipes are very hard to do because it's a very small space where you have to aim and you have to do it really quickly. Especially in his fast phase, you have to do it very quickly. But other than him trolling me at the beginning of. So now we go to the final area of the game, the Impact Crater, and we're gonna go fight Metroid Prime. Alright, so Impact Crater is basically just 4 rooms. It's not a very big area. So this is the main room, and you're supposed to jump up all these platforms, but we can actually do a slope jump off of this collision right there and just skip half of the platforms you have to jump on. And just do the rest of the platforming. Like I said, Metroids are very annoying and they can get in your way sometimes. And this one actually ends up grabbing me. That's very annoying. It's very unlucky. He just went right in my way, and so I couldn't jump onto the platform because he ran into me and stopped me from getting onto the platform. But I'll take that over falling down any day, though. Alright, so now we're going to go fight Metroid Prime. And so Metroid Prime's mechanics is that he's sort of like the power wave plasma troopers, where he changes colors, and that's the beam that you can damage him with. And you can't damage him. It's like right now he's purple, so you have to damage him with the wave beam. So most of the fight, I wasn't close enough to him here, but we're going to be manipulating his melee attack by being right in his face. And so you can see like that, we can manipulate his melee attack. I didn't end up getting back towards him fast enough because I got hit. But you go back in front of him, and then he does melee attack again and again and again. And you just hit him with a charge shot every time until he goes down. And that's how you do the fight well. Because there's some attacks he can do that waste a lot of time, like when he shoots his cannon thing or whatever, breath attack. His weak point gets harder to hit. And so like this, we're just manipulating his attack over and over again, and that was very well done. So that's what we want on every beam phase of every phase of this fight. Sometimes you can't really control it because he'll just do some of his trolley attacks before you can get close enough to him. Like right here, we end up getting his melee attack pretty well. Yep, and we did a good manipulation here. Alright, and then the other part of this fight that makes it fast is he does this dash, and in the middle of the dash, he actually becomes weak to whatever beam he was before again. And you can get a snipe on him like I did there. And you can damage him because basically his phases, his like beam phases, have like a damage cap that you can do on that phase. But after he charges at you, you can basically store damage into his next phase by hitting with a charged ice shot, like that. But now, so like the power phase is very fast because I hit him with a charged ice shot. So it was very good because it carried over into this phase, which I couldn't have done in the other phase by just spamming ice on. And so it just makes the phases a lot faster because you're damaging him. You're just doing more damage faster to him because you're damaging him when you're not supposed to be damaging him. But it's important to get the snipes. You can do 2 of them. You can do one when he charges and one when he turns around. The one that's turning around is much harder. But it's very important to hit him, to hit the snipe shots on plasma and ice beam because they deal a lot of damage. And so it's very important to hit him on those phases. It's still very important to hit him on all the phases, but those are the most important. So if I miss ice and plasma shots, it loses a lot of time. Because then if you miss like a plasma shot, which does a lot of damage, and then he goes into a phase where if he goes into power or wave, which don't deal a lot of damage, you're basically wasting that time because you have to hit him with like two or three more charged beam shots. So So yeah, we're just doing the manipulations here. We did a pretty good job here. And so like this sniper here is very important to get. We end up missing it there, but I think we got him on the turn, which is the harder one to get. Yep, we got him. That's pretty good. So like, for example, just to put it in context, Power Beam takes 5 charged shots to send him into the next phase. But Ice Beam takes 2 charged shots and like a normal shot. So it takes half as long. So if you miss an ice shot but you make a power shot, you still lose a lot of time because you missed a high damage shot. And so right here he kind of trolled me a little bit. Those like energy balls that he shoots out are very bad RNG to get. And sometimes even if you're in his base, he just chooses to use it for no reason. It usually happens when he switches beams and you're still in his base and he just like chooses to shoot the energy balls at you. It's very annoying because you have to deal with those because they deal an entire energy tank's worth of damage to you. And so you kind of have to deal with that. It's very annoying. And so it's bad RNG whenever you get that. Yeah, that was pretty bad RNG. I was in his face and he still did it. I probably just wasn't close enough to him, honestly. But yeah, it's very annoying when he does that. And I should also mention this last phase is completely RNG. He does random attacks. He does he can switch beams whenever he wants, even before you're done damaging him. Like we have, because in the past phases you would damage him all the way and then he would charge you, and then he'd switch. But now he can switch whenever he wants. So right here we switched to a wave beam and then he just switches to plasma beam for no reason. And then he really trolls me and switches back, and then just even wait. It gets better. He does it again. This is very bad RNG. At least he ended on plasma. So we want to get plasma and ice as much as possible because those deal the most damage. And we ended up missing the sniper. I think we got him on the turn. Okay. And he gave me ice again, which is good RNG. We ended up missing the ice shot there, which is very annoying. Ice beam. The ice beam projectiles move very slowly, so it's actually hard to hit him. Okay, we end up getting a snipe there, which is very good. And we end up getting the second snipe, which is a big deal because now we just have to do like a charged power shot instead. So that shows off like some of the power of doing those snipes. It just does phases very fast. All right, so now we're into the second phase of Metroid Prime. This is his core or whatever, and so you can see like that blue thing up there is his core. So we can't damage him in this phase except with Phazon, which is part of, you get Phazon Beam by having Phazon Suit basically, and you step in his Phazon puddles, which let you channel the Phazon Beam to kill him. And so we're going to be doing some interesting manipulation here. So he lays that pool, and essentially what happens is this boss has to take a certain amount of actions before he lays another pool, and we're going to hit him in a rhythm here. And this rhythm is not random. The rhythm is we're doing it right as he's about to start doing an attack. So we cancel that attack and make him go into the pool like that, and does it really fast. He just laid another pool very quickly. And that's the whole point of doing this phase. Doing the rhythmic shots on him. Because we're skipping his animations, and so, but the only unskippable animation that he has is laying a pool. So we can't interrupt him laying a pool, but we can interrupt everything else, which works to our advantage, because we're speeding up him laying a pool. And for the last pool, we're actually going to do what's called a pool cancel. We're going to step in and out of the pool, and by stepping in and out of the pool, we actually make the game think we're not using that pool, because the pool has a finite amount of Phazon it can give you. And so by doing that, we're actually making the game think that we're not using it. And I had a little bit of trouble doing it here. Because you can't really look down before you get the target. So it's kind of annoying to do, but it's not very difficult. I ended up screwing it up here because I took too long to actually kill him, because I had some trouble getting the pool. But if this happens, you kind of just have to wait for him to lay a pool. It's very annoying. But do keep in mind that you are still interrupting his attacks while doing the pool cancels, so he can still lay a pool decently fast. Yeah, he has like barely the tiniest amount of health here, and we just barely didn't get it. But what was supposed to happen is you're supposed to get him at 3-3. And yeah, that's the run. The run's very cool, and I think that it'd be very cool to have this in a marathon. And I would like to thank you for considering my submission. Thank you for watching my video. Um, and I hope to see you in Yes Glitches Allowed. And funnily enough, this when I recorded this was actually a PB. It was somehow a PB, even though I did not play very well and used marathon strats. So yeah, very interesting that I somehow got a PB. So you have not only watched my submission for Yes Glitches Allowed, but you've also watched my PB video. So yeah, thank you very much for considering my submission.